Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings and Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies / co-hosts, Noah and Thomas. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings in Cardboard. Guys, how have things been since the last time we talked?
Well, I didn't make it to Hartford, and it looked really fun, and I felt I was missing out, and instead I almost cut the end of my finger off.
Oh, what happened?
Working outside, doing some construction stuff, and was going to mark a piece of wood with a razor knife and hit my finger with the razor knife. It was a brand new one too, so it just went right through it. Had to go get stitches. It's still bleeding a little bit like 3 days later. It's great. I could have been at Calling Hartford instead, spent the same amount of money that I probably have to pay for the urgent care visit, but got to play card games instead. All of my regret.
Yeah, really. The FOMO after watching everything that went down at Hartford is real.
It looked so much fun.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's pretty much the main topic of the pod this week, everybody. We're going to be just talking about what happened over the weekend and the impact that Heavy Hitters has had. What about you, Noah? What have you been up to in the last week?
Not much. I mean, I was moving some inventory around card-wise. Actually put a bunch of things up on TCG Player finally. Actually put a bunch of things up. So, 1,500 plus cards.
Did you put up
all that, majestic?
Did you put up that extended art or not? That alternate art Galaxy Black that we opened on?
Yeah,
Saturday?
I already put it up. Yeah, we opened up a box of Monarch because I still have three unopened boxes of Monarch from a case I bought so long ago, and I realized that one pack a day is gonna just I'll never get to some of these cards. I mean, that's what it feels like. I'll just never get there. So I was like, I want to open up a box, and obviously we're gonna do some YouTube stuff, and I'm gonna open up boxes on YouTube because then it's just more of an excuse for me to open up product anyway and get content out of it. So that is the plan. But yeah, no, I put that up already. I've just been trying to adjust prices on where I think things are going to go. I've called a lot of things really well. I put things up slightly higher than what the current market was because I knew Heavy Hitters was going to have an impact. Boy, has it. So
you did pretty well
good.
on Dynamo, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I would have done well on Dynamo, but I didn't get any Dynamos before the surge. I tried. Trust me. I bought 9 of them the second that the thing went up, but it didn't work out. So, but I was on top of Dynamo well before it happened.
I mean, it's clear if it's going to be a dual-wielded warrior meta, that's the de facto piece of equipment that you run in Warrior.
Yeah, it's a really good piece of equipment. But a lot of other cards I was specking on. So a lot of brute cards. Some of them have worked out very well in terms of swing bigs and the Scowling Fleshbacks and stuff, which we'll talk about during the market minute. But not a lot of Flesh and Blood playing.
Really? You haven't started grinding for Calling LA?
No, I mean I'm going to be, but I want to do it on stream. So I got the last bits for the intermission, and then I'm going to figure out how to make all those YouTube scenes work, which I don't think is going to be that hard since they're literally on my Streamlabs already. I just need to get the files in the right place. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that much of a problem. And then we'll start streaming and playing.
The streaming part or the grinding part? Because
no, the grinding part is always fun. I mean, everybody's just going to have to watch me make terrible plays over and over again. But that's just
creeping up really fast. It's already February 5th now. Pro Tour LA is March 21st.
I feel.
Oh dang.
I feel okay. I mean, the Kayo matchup is foreign, which obviously we're going to have to figure out, but it's not really foreign in what it wants to do. I think I'll just have to figure out how the numbers work together and how many turns I realistically have of applying pressure and how much pressure I can realistically apply while they're trying to set up whatever combo they're trying to do. So, or they just high roll me, but that's just Flesh and Blood. So what are you going to do about that? Yeah. But I feel okay as long as it's not Prism dominated and I just feel completely lost. Although of course if Iron Song exists, we'll figure it out. I haven't finalized the deck list. I've seen a lot of deck lists. I've seen a lot of things that people are doing with Dorinthia. I agree and disagree with some of the things, so we'll see.
I don't think you have to worry about Prism so far.
There's been a lot of tier lists that have come out in the last week or so, and I don't think anybody really had Prism rated highly.
Was it tough?
Did you guys see anybody rate Prism really high? Because now
No.
that the brutes are basically taking over the world, I don't know if she survives a brute.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the brutes might keep her under wraps, which is fine. I mean, I don't necessarily like playing against Reinhardt or Dorinthia. I think it's a really unfair, grindy matchup sometimes, especially if you're given just 4 cards that you have to block with. But we'll see. I mean, brutes still have a weakness in the amount of cards they have to keep. So we'll see.
I don't know. Kayo's got a disgusting 1-card hand, which is Cast Bones.
Yeah.
Which creates absolutely nutty 2-card hands, which is like Bare Fangs after you cast Bones.
Yeah.
So
as far as I went to Armory on Friday and got to play in a heavy hitters draft. We didn't do the deathmatch arena, which after the fact I realized we probably should have. That would have been really cool if we'd done the UPF
yeah, we could have
thing with the pod. But I ended up going 2-1. Actually played Kayo. I played a brute for probably the first time ever. I don't think I've ever played Reinar or Levia myself. That's not. So yeah, that was an experience. I couldn't draft Ninja, so that was out. That was off the table. But yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
It wasn't a bad night.
I was the only warrior in that pod, and I still went 1 and 2. But to be fair, the first game I lost was extremely close, and my third round was against a Reinar who had show no mercy, and he just absolutely pounded me. Like I think he was throwing like block 6, 2-card 7 over and over and over again, and then had a couple like those big 4-card 19 crazy turns. Like yeah, show no mercy is pretty unfair and limited. I think it's quite a bit better than up the ante as far as power level goes. We're talking about majestic specializations.
Yeah, I pulled the KO specialization, but it was basically just a blue block 3. It didn't really do anything. I mean, his scabskin leather's on a stick, but I think I had an opportunity to roll one time, but it was just safer to pitch it, so I took the safe line. Felt like a coward, but you know,
hey, if you roll
I don't live that brute life.
you roll a 6, you can just win the game.
Yeah, you could. I could have, but I also could have lost on the spot. And
KO even struggles to even use 3 action points most of the time because he doesn't have 2 weapons.
Yeah,
that card is just not good. Maybe it's
really.
good.
I just needed an agility token, but I didn't have one at the time, so
it might actually be pretty good in young KO, like the original young KO, like some ready to roll build. Especially
Maybe.
in Clash, because it's a specialization, so you could run it in the Clash format. Okay. Anyway, I think we've digressed quite a bit.
yeah,
That's okay, because we're starting to talk about cards.
Yeah, let's
And
talk
cards are
about the
good.
prices of cards, because I think Cast Bones probably got a nice spike.
oh my goodness.
Well, it's funny you said that it did. Earlier today, I checked it and it was at $38 on like the price that it flashes on when I first check it on TCG Player. And then I looked at it earlier in the day, and then I came back and I deleted all the tabs that I had set across for the cards that I was going to talk about. Then I re-put them back up, and I was like, okay, let's see. So technically, Cast Bones did spike that high for a brief period. It has since gotten back down. We're going to talk a little bit about that too. And why I think some of these initial price spikes, you don't have to buy into all the hype.
Yeah, wait for people to open packs. It'll drive them down a little
yeah.
bit. Even
For
if KO
sure.
is popular, I don't
This set
don't
is
think it's
going to
gonna be-
be cracked so much.
I don't think it's gonna be Dromai popular, right? It's not gonna be Tome of Imperial Flame. And also, it's not an expansion card. It's just a normal majestic.
Yeah, I mean, but so here we'll get to it, and the reason being is I just for a disclaimer, I haven't gotten my cases yet at all. I didn't order very many of them, but you have to. It came out Friday. Most places aren't going to ship till it physically comes out. They have to have the product. They probably don't get it until Friday. They might even legally be able to ship it early. I don't know. I'm sure there's some loopholes in some areas where people get it way earlier, and obviously people have had access to cases since the celebrational. I mean, in some cases. So people are going to be getting their cards today, tomorrow, me included. And so I think a lot of these prices I would take with a grain of salt right now, and some of them will fall from this set if there's anything going around. Maybe not the Marvel heroes, because some of them are completely bought out of TCG Player right now, but we'll see. I would wait a second. Now, the things that are outside of this set, your swing bigs, which really we're going to talk about. I was thoroughly pleased with where it's headed, I guess, from a seller standpoint, but I can understand that some people are going to be like, are you kidding me, really? And I'm like, now? Yeah.
Just what is it, man?
Okay, sure. So let's start with swing big then. So swing bigs, I've talked about this card before on the rise. They are now, if you want near mint, and they only come in first edition, as we just talked about before the podcast. There is no Everfest Unlimited. They're $40 a card. Yeah, swing bigs right now are at $40.
Okay, and that makes sense, right? Because it goes in 3 decks, right? It goes in KO, Rhinar, and
it's a 3 of.
Let's be real, decks. And I didn't realize this until somebody pointed out. James White himself said the card was an entire mistake and should have never been printed.
I agree.
It was way too powerful.
It's way too good.
It's a 2 for 8 with no real way of taking advantage of the quick token if you block it out. Usually, I'm serious.
Arsenal take advantage of it next turn.
That's a 2-turn investment opportunity cost, as Mr. Nathan would say, that you probably cannot afford to pay in most decks.
That's true.
Like, let's be real. You do not have that much setup time when you're playing against a hero that's throwing 9s and 12s and 15s periodically. You're just not going to. But no, it's insane. And so there is absolutely no surprise to me as I set my rainbow foils at $40 a piece that they finally hit there and sold. And now, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I bumped them up because I was like, I don't see it. I'm not. If foils are on the same price as non-foils, then there's a problem, in my opinion. So I bumped them up. Let's be real here. But I have watched that card since $28 and before, when I got them, continue to rise. And so I knew it was only a matter of time before KO decided that it was, it was time to push the meta up. And
I mean, but
I'm not surprised it's KO.
Bear Fangs is technically a higher value than Swing Big in KO.
Swing big.
Bear Fangs, I'm pretty sure, is a common though, right? So it can
swing
never
big. Swing big's big.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where swing big is. First edition rainbow foils are at $40 right now as well. So really, there's no point right now not to get rainbow foils. I'm not just saying that because I want you to push them up to where my rainbow foils are. I'm literally saying, oh no, that's right, whole tournament play problems. I don't know. I've never had an issue with that. So I just hope that my 1s and 2s of foils never come into question, because I couldn't mark cards if I tried. But I understand that whole field. So yes,
I feel like if you inner sleeve, that's not a problem. But anyway,
yeah. Usually, I feel like if you do that, it's not.
Especially if you use the hard sleeves, the hard inner sleeves. Those are great.
I love them. I love the certain hard inner sleeves. I've done some KMC perfect cards. They were kind of annoying to sleeve. There's a lot of air in it, and then like the cards get real thick, but it's good stuff. So let's talk about another card. Well, we're gonna switch all over the place. Just wanted to start with Swing Big because we hyped it up for so long. Now this card I'm also excited to start to creep up. No surprise as well. Tectonic Plating. So Tectonic Plating, actually, I've been watching since it's been, 40s, whatever. It's getting close to $50 now. And that's actually monumental because I just never thought I'd ever see that card move. I keep seeing Bravo do well. And I keep saying, is Tectonic going to go up? And I keep seeing Bravo do well. And I keep saying, well, is Tectonic going to go up? Never goes up.
I don't know if it's the Bravo.
Is it Bravo?
I think it's Victor, because Victor has
is
pretty
Victor
well.
Also using Tectonic? Well, I mean,
his cost curves work really well with Tectonic Plating.
Yeah, I guess a lot of Bravos have been going on Tunic too, so it wouldn't necessarily just be Bravo.
Bravo wants to be able to play the Tunic combos.
Thank you, Victor. Yeah, because the
Victor,
pay for the
Victor doesn't, because you can put Pummel in Victor, but a Pummel is a missed clash.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. So Victor then has drawn the has brought the price up, and so Tectonic Plating seems to be on the rise a little bit, which I do like. That card it's very good. It's an awesome chess piece, and it's nice to see that other Guardians are out there making use of it. So definitely put that on your radar if you do want to play Victor or whatever. I wouldn't see it going higher than 55, and there's always a white border option, so don't get too frazzled about that. Apex Bonebreaker, I've watched this card as well since it came out. We saw some preliminary pre-prices for it. We talked about it last week. Now we could talk about what a real static price looks like. So it's currently sitting at $71 for the rainbow foil, which is actually pretty solid. I had a feeling if Kayo started to spike up, it would go up a little higher. And so it's no surprise that we're going to see it jump from some of those initial pre-selling prices. Like I can see it down here at $53. Somewhere even close to like 50 on some of these sales, which I thought was pretty reasonable as it's pre-release 45, 50. No surprise. KO's has won, and so obviously the card goes up. Cold foils, you're still looking at 170 for the cold foil right now, which is
it went up $10. It was 160 last time we spoke, right?
So
it's creeped up too.
It's pretty good.
Please
I think that's pretty
Apex
fair.
in my cards that I bought. I think our cases come in maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's like the last time where you pulled up, we waited for like that weird 5 minutes where I was just like, what if we just sit here for a second? And then UPS showed up. So that's my hope, is that it's all going to work that same way. Because it'd be nice to do some of that. Open up some of it. Cast Bones, we did talk about it. It at one point was up to $38. I did see it. It doesn't look like any sold for it. The highest it sold for was for 35, which is still outrageous if you think about it. But that card is also pretty nuts. It has now settled down to 22, which is probably a little bit more fair for it. We're going to talk about Blade Fury, which had the same type of a initial surge and then sort of a plateauing out. But right now, Cast Bones is at 22, and it might go up again. I mean, the more people that just want to play KO, it's kind of
a one hero card. KO is the only one that has the deck construction that could really support it being consistent, because it needs to hit 5 might tokens to be better than other options, right?
Or technically all 6 is really what you want, which is
all 6 you're kind of hitting the nuts, but with 5 you could like do a wild ride and then play it out of arsenal and still get your agility. At 4 you're at the same rate as a scar for a scar, so you want to hit that 5,
in which case it's a 0 for 4, so that's still pretty good.
0 for 4 is good, but it's not overrate on any other options. So you want your deck construction to try to reliably hit 5. And the average KO deck has only 6 non-6s, sometimes only 5 non-6s in the deck.
And that's the 3 Blood Rush and 3 Cast Bones, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it'll be depends on the list. A lot don't necessarily run Blood Rush. There's some that say no Blood Rush, run No Fear instead, because No Fear allows you to block for 6 and then swing with your whole hand, or your hand minus 1 card. Same reason.
Blood Rush.
There are versions that I've seen that don't have Blood Rush, but you kind of choose 5 or 6. You choose 5 or 6 non-6 cards, and that's why Cast Bones works in that deck and not other brute decks.
Okay, then. Neat.
And just so we're not going to talk about every single card. Some cards are just adequately priced. I just want to talk about some of these build-defining cards that we've been seeing.
We're not going to talk about the price of the KO specialization card.
No,
neither of them.
Most likely not. We're just going to talk about some of these best-selling cards that have really high prices, and this little graph thing just shows them going to the moon. So, next card is Blade Fury, or Blade Flurry, I should say. I don't know. Really good card. Amazing. I've pulled 1, so I need 2 more, which is good because apparently they are mighty expensive. This is a card I saw at $28 recently, earlier in the day, and now it's down to 22, so it's on the same level as Cast Bones. I'm not saying that's necessarily any better, but it's certainly better than it trending upwards of $30. So very strong card, probably one of the best reactions they've ever made in the game.
It
so
beats Sink Below on Dawnblade. It's a 1 card beats single sync below out of Arsenal. It's pretty good.
Well, I mean, it's only +2. You could still cover it with sync in most cases.
No, 3.
It's
I'm just saying 3 + 2 = 5.
Yes, 3 + 2 = 5. If it's a yeah, most people block with a 10 type of. People block
with a
it
piece
usually
of gear to put it up to 3 to put it up to 6. So you do a gear piece of 2 and a sync below.
Yeah. Most people block me up to weird breakpoints where the 2 would not work in the same way a 3 would not work. So the thing is that Blade Flurry is a very good investment if they're going to sync anyway, because you're going for a 0 for 2 and you're making them have to cover up the extra 2 that they probably don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine, because I mean, people have sync D-reacts. It is what it is. It's the nature of it. Blade Flurry gets to punish the no block in the same way that it also gets to punish a block, which is what makes the card so dynamic.
So good.
Is most cards that do the whole attack reaction don't get any way of punishing a no block call most of the time. There are some extreme cases where you can get a punish, but it's anti-reprise. It's good stuff. We needed it, in my opinion, because it's just really easy to say no blocks and get away with it. I do it all the time to other Dorinthias, and it's totally valid. You just say, I don't want to block. And they go, are you sure? And you go, yeah, I don't want to block. And that's usually the right call. I'm not joking. Like 90% of the time, it's usually the right call. It depends what cards are coming before it. But let me tell you, majority of the times I'm sitting there saying, please block. Yeah. Because I want you to.
I usually just say, if you're not generating copper and you're not generating gold, I'm not blocking you.
I'll put it to you this way: if you're like a newer player and you don't really understand it, like if you give me cards, you give me cards and I get over it. And so it's the best of both worlds. Don't give me cards. Don't even invest anything in the blocking unless you physically feel like there's no way. I'm serious. There are extreme cases.
I usually just try to wait till it's heads up. I know what I'm blocking. Usually it's going to be on the second swing. But are there other warrior cards?
Hold on. It's always heads up. Just depends. No, that's well, yeah, there is Blood on Our Hands. We can go to that as well. Blood on Our Hands is another card which I think I even told you about it, Thomas, that I originally put up, and I was like, I don't know if I want to put it up for that cheap. And so I moved the goalpost on it again, and I should have moved. I said it as soon as the first one sold for 20. I said I should have moved 20. The goalpost. Yeah, no, it went up to $20. It was at $14.15 the last I checked it. It had been sitting there, and then Kasai did well, and I sold one at 20, and I knew I had one more, and I said, that's too quick. I said the fact that it already got there, I should move it, and I didn't, and it jumped all the way up to $30 at its highest. Now it's back down to 26. And so these Everfest, some of the best-selling Majestics. You keep hearing me say it, Everfest. Everfest continues to have literally some of the best Majestics this game has ever seen. And so if you haven't opened Everfest, like I haven't opened a lot of Everfest, I will be opening so much Everfest in the time to come. So I would...
That's what I was pulling from our LGS for prize packs while I was waiting for heavy hitters to come out.
Everfest is a solid set right now. It's a good set being brought back the same way Tails is going to get brought back later on. So it's just a good time. It's a feels good time for...
The Majestics in that set are just so strong. It's got Revel and
Runebloods, Swarming Gloomveil. Yes, it has some of the most build defining Majestics. Blood on Our Hands, Swing Big. Some of the cold foil legendaries don't really have that much appeal. Like that's kind of the problem. But it has really cool EAs. Think about your EAs. Good EAs. Real fun EAs. Extended arts. Anyway, we're going to go talk about the Kayo Marvel Hero. I know Kasai technically still garners the highest price tag of Marvel Heroes. It did for a very long time, and it still does at $334 for the adult Marvel Hero.
Yep.
Which is pretty good. Kayo was a very modest 210, 230, which is crazy. They've all since been bought out on TCG Player. There is no single adult Kayo right now.
You don't win a battle hardened on set release and have your Marvel Hero not immediately sell out.
I'm going to comfortably say Kayo is probably now 300 if not 350, along with Kasai. I don't know how many people are just going to keep swap over. It depends on popularity.
He might be really good, but he doesn't have like the mommy tax.
Yeah.
No,
he
doesn't
100%.
have the waifu tax.
He does not. He does not have that.
I mean, it depends on what you're into. I mean, some people that might be their flavor.
Yeah.
It's not mine. I ain't judging. I'm just saying.
It is objectively a less popular.
Waifu.
It is objectively a less popular flavor, though, right?
It is.
It's like
It's,
Rocky Road is ice cream, but it's not, and it's good. I like Rocky Road, but I'll acknowledge that Rocky Road is not the best kind of ice cream.
Yeah,
I think we can safely hedge bets then in the middle that it's probably going to be at least 250, 275. There will be a price hike that will come of there being no Marvels on the market. There will be, unless again, tons of products. So don't. I'm not telling you this to tell you to go fire sell the next Kayo Marvel you see and buy it, because it's all going,
I would just
it's all going
Facebook.
up.
You'd probably have a better chance of getting one at a reasonable price off Facebook than off TCG Player at this point.
For those who don't know, definitely go check out the Facebook Marketplace, and definitely go check out what we call the Purple Discord. You can navigate it pretty easily.
When you say the Facebook Marketplace, you're talking about the Facebook group for Flesh and Blood buying and trading, not the actual Facebook Marketplace, right?
That is 1000% correct. Thank you for that clarification. I do mean the Flesh and Blood
Marketplace
that is on Facebook that you can get an invitation to and start doing selling and buying and stuff. It's a very wonderful place. I do a lot of buying and selling on there as
Michael
well.
Uses it. If he uses it, then must be legit.
He moderates it along with
I saw Yuki post on there earlier.
Yeah, it's a lot of trusted people use it. It's a great place. That plus what we call the Purple Discord, which is kind of like the community Discord, are great places to kind of find cheaper cards to buy. Most people are willing to make deals because it's off TCG. It's easier to avoid fees and stuff, so you'll get better deals that way. 2 cards. Sorry, I know it's kind of long. Carrion Husk is also on the rise. Thankfully, I don't
really.
Yeah, it's about time, because it was down to back in January $84 and $85 rainbow foils, which is ridiculous for that card. I don't understand how that's even possible. But there was a lot of Monarch that was spilling out, a lot of extra Monarch. Even under $80, some for $78. Back to $130 now. So feeling pretty good.
Where it deserves to be. The card is broken.
Cold foils are still, again, too much first ed Monarch was printed it, but it's fine. That'll eventually all work its way out down the road. But the card's nuts. Just more heroes need to be able to use it. Right now, there's only one.
Well, Vincent can in aggro matchups. It's not that bad in aggro matchups.
I'd rather have the Carapace,
especially in Blitz.
The Carapace just looks so much better, and you get the extended art. Oh,
yeah, it is a really pretty card, but it's not just that. The temper block 2, it blocks multiple breakpoints. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
that's a whole other conversation.
Last card, I guess it was another warrior card, but it spoils the war. I just have to track this card because Kasai makes things go nuts, and so it is roughly, I'd put it at $20 right now for a spoils if you want it unfoiled. And $40 for first edition foils, and $30 for non-first edition rainbow foils. But the card is insane.
Yeah, that card makes me block.
Yeah, most people have to block spoils. It just is what it is. So
I learned it's now a really
good card.
That I could be winning a game versus Kasai, and she could have 4 copper, and then she'll be winning the game versus me. With like sometimes a 1 card hand. She's just like cash in, spoils the war. And I'm like, well, that's a game.
Yeah.
That felt like 3 of a kind. Awesome.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, that's scary.
It feels like 3 of a kind. If she has a gold, it feels like sometimes she could just bust out a 3 of a kind out of nowhere.
That about wraps it up, though, for the market minute. There are probably other things to talk about. Obviously, some cards that are going up, down, left, right. Some other prices, your commanding presence, your no fears, your sin packings, whatever. Your standing orders. But nothing's going out of this world. In fact, standing order is going down, which is kind of weird because I think the Majestic's really, really good. But we'll see. I think it's a card that it hasn't fully been realized yet. So we'll see about that card. But that's one of the generics that you should take a look at. It's a really good generic. If not now, later it'll have a big impact.
If someone finds a fatigue deck, it'll probably be in fatigue.
Yeah,
like 20 people at the Battle Hardened thought they did.
Yeah, and so I guess we could talk about the Battle Hardened.
Yeah,
so we have the battle. It's like we're gonna do the Battle Hardened first, right? Because that's classic constructed. That's like our jam.
It's weird.
Yeah, we'll get to the calling because the calling was extremely entertaining. And they did something they've never done before, and we'll talk about that. But we already got the Battle Hardened as our topic. Okay, heavy hitters, amazing. It's crazy that I think we had 3 or 4 heavy hitters heroes in the top 8.
There were 2 KOs,
and 1 Kasai, so 3. Yuki Lee Bender smashed the Battle Hardened. Brute smashed it.
Yeah,
completely undefeated
the entire way.
Even into that Kano, I think was Majin Bay. Who was also just like blazing through people. I think he had like in the top 8, I think one of his matches ended in the first turn. I just know that like, I don't know exactly how it went down. I know that we knew what the finals were on like the 4th turn of the semifinals. We knew that Majin Bay was going to be in the finals. I'm a little sad because Leviah was also in the top 8. That's why Carrying Husk Stonks are maybe going up. And I'm a little sad that the Leviah didn't make it to finals because Leviah has quite a good Kano matchup and could have taken it as well. I'm surprised that the Kano didn't win because when I looked at Yuki, did she have a lot of... I'll have to go look at that list again. I can't remember if she had a lot of AB or not, but maybe it doesn't matter when you're threatening like 18 damage a turn and you only start with 30 health and no armor.
Yeah, I don't believe she would have used any AB if you're getting 22 points of value out of every hand, what do you need to block for? I mean, that's insane. That was a crazy run.
It is interesting. It is interesting as a concept to ask Kayo to have it in 3 turns. Kayo, you get it in 3 turns or you're dead. And that's how I feel that you beat Kano. Is you need to finish the game around turn 4, I think, or you're at least at a point where he never gets to keep more than like a card or 2 so that he can't ping you down during his turn. But yeah, Yuki completely smashed it. I think surprised everybody. We all knew KO was strong going into the Battle Hardened, but we didn't realize undefeated strong, right?
Yeah. I was kind of selfishly hoping for a Kasai victory myself, because I pulled that Marvel. Oh, I didn't mention that. I pulled the Marvel Kasai out of my case that I bought at Armory. And
I saw it at the...
I was selfishly hoping that Kasai would win the event just so the Marvel would go up. But I managed to get it flipped, but she
top 8'd.
Yeah, she top 8'd at the Battle Hardened, and she also top 8'd at the PTI in Manila. So there were 2 Kasais in the top 8. That helped my cause. That definitely helped my cause.
So, I don't think flipping it is a bad thing. We talked about this. I still think they trend slightly downwards. You only have to buy it once. Remember, it's a one-time cost. So
I'm never gonna use the hero. If I ever decide to randomly build Kasai, I'm just gonna get a token.
I think it was totally fine. It probably won't go up that much.
But yeah, I think with the Battle Hardened level event, if you're in top 16, your hero has legs, or you made a good meta read, right?
Yeah.
There is a little bit of luck with getting in the top 8. There is a little bit of luck with being the winner because it's a card game.
Yeah,
right?
The TCG. Variance is a thing. Even if it's lower in Flesh and Blood, it is still a thing. I mean, you can still get awkward hands. You can still have things not quite line up the way they need to on certain turn cycles. There is still the element of luck that goes into making it that far in a TCG.
I mean, or the Kano can flip 2 Gaze the Ages back to back, and then get Aether Flare and double Blazing Aether and poop out 50 damage in response to your first attack of the game.
Oof.
I'm referencing Julian.
I mean, that can happen.
I'm referencing Julian at Battle Hardened Orlando.
I mean, I want to say I saw a tweet from Lucas Oswald saying that his game against Majin Bey against Kano lasted like 20 seconds before he conceded, something like that. I'd have to go find the tweet, but I think there was something like that, wasn't there?
Majin Bey is
he was on fire.
Majin Bey is a notoriously nasty Kano player too.
Yes.
So congrats on his,
not a bad guy.
Congrats on his second place.
Mm-hmm. Well deserved.
Yeah, respect Kano, guys. He's going to beat you if you don't respect him. He's going to show up to the events. It takes one good player to high roll just a little bit, and he'll get past his bad matchups, and then he'll just completely flatten anyone coming in with AB1. Unless you're like,
I'm still gonna disrespect.
Unless you're like Kayo.
I mean, if you're playing Kano and you sit down across from me, just know we're racing.
We race.
That's all it is.
I mean, to be fair,
we are off.
When I play Leviah, I'm only bringing in AB1. I'm bringing in Spell Void 4 equivalent, but I'm like, we race. I'm throwing literally everything at you. I'm not saving any pitch. I'm throwing my entire hand at you, and you just throw your cards at me. And as soon as I see combo, I'm going to throw my Spell Void, and if that doesn't save me, you got it, man.
Well done.
Well done. Good game. I actually love Kano. I get that he's not flesh and blood, but it is really fun watching people play it in paper and do it correctly, because in paper there's no hand holding. The Talishar kind of does all the triggers for you, but in paper you have to like manage all that, and you've got to do it correct, because once you've like built things out, if you've like flipped your top card, you've seen new information. You can't go back. You can't fix it. So a lot of respect for people who could like repeatedly do Kanos over long days like that Battle Hardened.
Yeah, it's a taxing deck to mentally play. It has to be. I mean, you have to keep track of certain things. I mean, you're rearranging cards. It has to be put back correctly. You're putting it all back with a reason. And so it is. I don't want, like, I never take away from the Kano games. It's a very thinking intensive deck still. I mean, it does what it does very well, and it seems like, oh, here it comes again, you know, and you want to put it off, but you got to give respect to those great Kano players that know what they're doing and that switch it up and that make it interesting. And I like that there are other Kano variants that float around, specifically to keep everybody kind of fooled. And so yeah, it is. It's going to be like a calling Battle Hardened boogeyman. I mean, it will show up and it will run through you in heartbeat if you don't have AB or a way to respect it, or a way to beat it without AB. I mean, if you're doing the no AB, you better be able to beat it in about 2 to 3 turns. Realistically, anything more than that, you are just asking to lose to some kind of half combo.
Yeah, you'll just lose to pings on their half combo.
You'll get pinged down, half comboed, and then it's good enough. I mean, 21 or 29 being dealt in one turn is good if you're only at 29. So, you know, it's all it takes. Doesn't have to be the full 40 to 0 in one turn. So definitely have to respect Kano. I won't do it. I'm going to tell you to do it. I still won't put a single ounce of AB in my sideboard.
Y'all are wild.
I won't do it.
Y'all are wild.
I
will always respect Kano. He gets 2 board slots for me.
I'm pretty sure I have to give 1 AB to Rune Blades for whatever, but like I can't put anything more than that, and I won't put anything more than that.
Y'all are wild.
I mean, I'm running AB1 just for the Rune Blade games, but even that,
I'm throwing Oasis in because I think the card's really cool on certain Tunic matchups. You know, why not? I'll try and recreate my deck and throw in a couple of Oasises just to slightly shore it up.
Well, you know, like that sentiment that you caused it to rain by bringing your umbrella.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. You forgot your umbrella, so it didn't rain. You don't respect the Kano, so you see them in round 1.
They show up,
and then and then you like round 3 when you're like 1-1. You're getting another Kano that just had a bad game, and then you get trounced again.
Yeah. No, it's one of those. Yeah, I can see it happening. I still won't bring it.
Okay,
but I can see it happening. I know it's crazy.
Let's jump over to the calling, because holy crap,
the actual main event of the weekend.
It was huge. There were 422 players registered for a sealed event. That's crazy. I know it's the first weekend of heavy hitters, but I think that's just like a winning
That's a testament to
bell,
how
like,
good this set is.
Yes, just like an absolute payoff to LSS for how successful it was. Because you go to the pre-release weekend, you play the sealed there, and you just think, I gotta get plane tickets to Hartford.
Yeah, I mean, had we swung it and had we been there, I probably would have liked to have flown, because even Peter asked from InMax if I was going to be out there. But
I was thinking about going. I really wanted to go. I wish I would have, so then I wouldn't have cut my finger.
Yeah, in hindsight, but definitely could have done with some more sealed. I think it's a very good sealed. A lot of people are calling it like the golden age of sealed.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't think they've drafted enough to really give. Draft is always going to be slightly a different beast, and sealed obviously has its caveats, which it's high roll pulls, whatever. But I feel like it's been one of the best and most successful seals just due to the overlapping card pulls, and the ability that when you usually sit down, minus some weird discrepancy with like blues, not even playable blues, just blues in general. You kind of get to look at all three classes and go, oh, I could play that. Oh, I could play that. So I've never really had a sealed pool where I couldn't play at least two out of the three pretty decently. Usually, I wouldn't say all three, but I would say at least two of the three between Brute Warrior, Guardian have usually felt pretty accessible.
Every sealed I've sat down to do, I built two decks and chose between the two of them.
And so,
well, that's interesting, but there is an issue with the actual numbers and how they converted at the calling. Because at the calling, for my article, I'm doing the write-up on Calling Hartford. There were 126 KOs that were registered for the pool during day one. Out of the top 64, 33 KOs had made day two. There were no Reinars, and there were, I want to say, no victors that made the cutoff to day two. If you registered either one of those heroes in your seal pool at Calling Hartford, you didn't make it to day two.
That doesn't surprise me. I think it's too hard to get a cohesive victor deck in sealed. You need those clash payoffs, and you need a critical mass of attacks to make sure that you win it. And then your counter is KO, because he's going to beat you on clashes.
Yeah.
And I think KO is just also a comfort pick. So players that go in saying, hey, this looks like maybe a good Betsy, but I just know KO is consistent, I'm going to go KO. So I think KO loses to variance less despite being a brute.
Yeah. Weird.
I mean, I played Victor in both sealed pools, and the first Victor deck I had on the first sealed pool was way better than the second one. I had 3 tests of strengths, which is pretty much the clashing bread and butter of what he wants to do. And I did end up losing to a KO. And the reason I think that the KOs and the Kasai's and the other classes, Reinhardt gets access to agility, but he's not going to use it the same way that KO is. KO with the rolling might and the double discard effects is just crazy. Intimidating doesn't do anything if you're going to block with 2 of your 3 cards anyway and play with 2 of your, it really doesn't.
I think if you don't get a Show No Mercy, if you don't get Show No Mercy, you can't play Reinhardt. Like, I think that's really like the build enabling card. And like the chances of getting that in sealed is really low.
I would tend to agree. I think Reinhardt would need just a more dominant card pool,
or maybe
to make that switch.
Or maybe like 5 Bonebreaker Bellows, like 5 Bonebreaker Bellows, and you also get the Ball Breaker. Maybe that could be enough, because like giant 3-card Ball Breakers over and over again are actually fairly efficient.
It's just
I see you grinning. Why are you?
I mean, sorry, that's my inner 12-year-old.
I need to. I'm gonna make a flesh
the
and blood
giant ball breakers.
I'm gonna make a flesh and blood Valentine's card, and it's gonna have vigor, girth, and raw meat on it somewhere.
It should.
Dude. Okay. Back to the calling. Brody Spurlock and Michael Fung were casting a large part of it. Yeah, they did great. But Brody Spurlock, like multiple times over the cast, said turning on raw meat. Like,
yeah.
Everyone's going, he said, what now? Great card names. But
they have some really good card names.
Just another win. LSS keeps winning.
Victor Victor gets outvalued. Is basically what I'm trying. Victor wants to play a value game, and he's not ever going to win a value fatigue style blocking. He's not going to, because KO and the Brutes and the Warriors take advantage and have the ability to access agility. And let me tell you, agility in this set is nuts. It's the entire reason why you win games, in my opinion, is having width to your turn. Width to your turn, and KO also applies height. So he does the best of both worlds. He gives you width during the agility. He gives you height because of the might. And so with those two things, you outvalue any blocking strategy, any clashing strategy, I'm drawing a card for my clash. No, you don't get to draw a card because you probably won't win the clash
that's
usually.
Not necessarily true. I've seen some pretty good Victor strategies that utilize money where your mouth is and test of strength. It's just not really a sealed strategy. Technically, you can get it in your sealed deck. You can get like 2 or 3 test of strengths and 2 or 3 money where your mouth is, and just have these crazy value turns. And the value of the money where your mouth is that you present this like super large attack that if they block it out and get a gold, you don't really care that much. But if they don't, you get a draw card in Arsenal because you're gonna fatigue them. If they like throw their whole hand to get a gold, you just spent like 2 cards to take all of their hand.
I play 7 cards ahead of the KO, and I was the one being fatigued because you can't block. There's no amount of blocking the width and height that KO pulls when all you're responding with is usually a 1 attack. You are not accessing agility as Guardian. You will never get anything.
Remember, we talked about the natural counter, and it's unfortunate that Victor's natural counter is KO, which might be the best sealed hero.
I'm not surprised. And Betsy is a way better Guardian because Betsy has access to overpower that says it doesn't matter if you want to block with 2 cards. You'll only ever get to block with 1 usually, and you get more damage leaked through. And that's why Betsy is a way better pick, in my opinion. You'd have to completely high roll with Victor with some crazy stuff. And not even Miller saves you because you're not running Miller's Grindstone against KO, which is going to be the majority of the pool you're going to see if you're playing sealed.
Unless you got the really nice shield, you run Miller's Grindstone and a High Riser just in case your Miller's Grindstone.
Two weapons.
Yeah, you just run 2.
I
think the coolest thing about the top 8 though, the top 8 draft, it was sealed. And then I think was all of day 2 draft.
It was.
So all of day 2 is draft. But what was notable about the top 8 draft was every hero was represented.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. The finals were KO versus Kasai, if I recall correctly.
Yep. And congratulations to Mark Morrison.
I think the game we got to watch in the semifinals was an absolute nail biter. And then the finals was intense. In fact, didn't it come down to? It came down to like one a red that was drawn badly right at the end. Yeah, he drew a red when he needed like literally any other color. A yellow would have been enough to keep tempo. The finals were fantastic. Like the balance, even with like, it's clear that like Rhinar is not the best hero in limited because it's just like he could be running KO instead. But other than that, I don't see a problem with limited format at all. It might be nearly perfect.
I don't see it.
It's already as close to perfect as they've gotten so far, in my opinion.
I think it's close. I think it's a fantastic limited set. I just think that certain heroes are definitely going to have a better result spread because they're easier to just make a cohesive deck.
I think in draft, like I think everyone but Rhinar is pretty playable. Yeah. Rhinar, you still can. Bonebreaker Bellow is like really strong because Intimidate can do some silly things.
Draft gets you to filter the cards, and so you're not just you're not just like, wow, that's a sick pack, and you're like, now they're all mine, So it's nice. You get lower powered sealed decks, which is really nice. You
gotta find your seat fast in this format though.
Well, I personally haven't drafted it. I would just assume that there are some very strong generics and block 3s and some crossover cards that leave you what I would consider decently open.
There are some crossovers. There are some okay generics, but I don't think there are a lot of generic block 3s. So I don't think you're picking up block 3s in the generic slot. I think there's like Ripple Away, which is Majestic, and Standing Order, which is Majestic.
There's down but not out, which is rare, and
Down
in
but
3
not out, which
colors.
is rare.
There's generic block cards, if I'm not mistaken, too, that you can pick up.
There's Test of Strength.
So like,
there's not a lot.
Like, I know there's not a lot, but you could still comfortably feel it out. And just usually it's the crossover cards as well. So I feel like you can at least keep a couple of classes open and try and figure out what your card is. Like there's going to be a card that you pick up that goes, okay, well, like I could build around this, or I could build around grabbing a couple more of these, and I start to see what my game plan is going to be. But I like draft. I think draft is going to be a very much more diverse pool of heroes than sealed will be, because sealed people are just going to gravitate towards those more high roller
which are going to be like
picks.
Kasai and Kayo.
Well,
I can't wait to try out the deathmatch arena format.
Yeah,
again, agility's a hell of a drug.
What format are we playing tomorrow? We could ask.
I don't know. Well, I thought that was a trick question. You guys are about to spring it and say, hey, when we play tomorrow, limited. I'd be like, wait, what? Seriously? Like, I actually looked at the Discord today, so I didn't see it. So I was gonna be like, no, come on, you guys can't keep springing this on me.
I'd like to play CC because I put together something different. That's
me too. I'm playing something I've never played before.
Yeah, me too. Starts with an L and ends with an A.
Same. That's crazy. We're both playing Leviat. No way.
Okay, so we had one more event that was happening this weekend. We had one more event that was happening this weekend, and that was Battle Hardened Manila. I don't want to leave that out.
No, it was a solid
we
event.
set a record.
Yeah.
There were 2 records set this weekend, I think.
Justin Q, I think his last name, is it Q or Q?
I'm going to go with Q.
Here we go again.
If we're wrong, Justin, if you're listening and we're wrong, tell us. Let us know.
Correct us, please, or anybody.
And then so he picked
please correct us.
He picked up a win in Blitz format on Victor Goldmane.
The day after release, Victor Goldmane earned LL points on the day after release. That is crazy. That is crazy.
Now, Blitz deck with Victor, I can see how this works.
So I think Victor is literally like Yoji on crack, right? You don't have a little bit extra health, but like you hit that one test of strength, you've already completely cleared Yoji in value. Like just to the moon.
Yeah, was it a fatigue list that he was running?
No, it's never like a fatigue list. Like it's a
Yoji is a fatigue hero. There's nothing else that it does.
He can still batter you down to the point that he's fatiguing you by damage just because you didn't trade efficiently with him.
Yeah, he's a guardian, but
they have big attacks. Victor does that, except he also has access to 2 Golden Suns.
Right. Well, that's what I'm asking. If it was, I mean, like, yes,
I'll have
fatigue.
To look. The difference is, does he run Pummel? If he's running Pummel, he's not really a fatigue list. He's looking to Pummel Golden Sun you.
I just want to see how many sigils and if we're running like Sunkiss stuff, because Yoji's all on Sunkiss Moon. Like he's full fatigue. Yoji
you can't run that stuff because you're running clash cards.
That's a lot of misses.
Right.
Your gain life is test of strength and trounce. Like
that's why I think that has to be more of an aggressive list, and you're running off of just these big attacks.
Not what I'm saying.
It's just a Victor list.
You're missing it. Like all those gain life cards and D-reacts are just clash cards instead. Because why would you play a card that gains you 3 life? That's 3 points. When you could play a test of strength, which gains you 7 or 8 points.
I get the gist of it, because Victor's never going to play more than usually 1 card per turn. So you're going to be blocking with the other cards. It's just a bunch of block 3s and getting good value off of the 1 card you play with Big Pop.
There's Zealous Belting and Rouse the Ancients. That's a key part of Victor's CC win strategy.
But then it's back to my original statement that it's more aggressive, because if you're running Zealous and Rouse and you're not fatiguing, that's what I'm trying to say. You're not fatiguing on Zealous and Rouse. You're not doing
on
that.
Zealous, but Rouse is fine in a fatigue list.
It's like you're off of that. So that's why. So if he's running a Blitz deck where he's going off of Clash and taking advantage of that, then he is blocking well and playing really well on his turn, and the gold draw is extra value being generated. But it's either fatiguing or he's playing to deal you damage.
No, hold on. Rouse the Ancients, you could have that in your deck when you play a test of strength and draw an extra card. you're not any lower on block value. That's what I'm saying. It's like Yoji on crack. All the things that Yoji's trying to do, Victor just probably does better.
Victor's numbers are crazy.
Yeah, no,
that's absolutely crazy.
And it's Blitz. It's a fast format. It's with cards you get to pick. It's like the best of everything. If you make the best Victor deck, I think he's one of the best heroes.
And you have a temper 2 on all your equipment pieces.
Do we have the full list that he played? I know he played like I think 5 prisms along the way. I saw it. It was like an 11. I saw all the matchups that he played, and I think like I saw 4 or 5 of them were prism. I just feel so bad for every prism he played.
Yeah, I wonder if he just fatigues prism.
Fatigue him. Do whatever you want with them. The card values are just like, what are you gonna do? What angel are you ever gonna get off?
Yeah, because it's not gonna
get
you block it. You block it. The angel even if she swings with it right when she plays it with a test of strength or something, right?
I mean, like Prism can win clashes.
She can. She definitely can.
Weird.
She's got some 7s, so she could occasionally beat Victor.
But I just assumed that it was Pop Central and nobody was doing anything with angels. But I don't know. That would be a really good. There'd be some good matches to see. I don't have very much experience with Prism, but Victor does seem like a very solid Blitz here. The numbers are just there, the value is there, and it's over a very short period of time.
Also, we had a PTI event at Battlehard Manila, and that was picked up by Campai Bustamante. That had 103 players in it. I think there was like a notable like thumbs up from everybody just looking at like the turnout that was in Manila. Like really great turnout. I think there was a little drama maybe a few months ago with that area with how product got into the area and how it's distributed, with like being worried that was going to hurt the game. Yeah, apparently it's doing good. So I hope they got that figured out. Yeah, I hope they got that figured out.
PTI is pretty solid.
I know what you're talking about. There was it was like one of the places was more of like a monopoly. It was harder for other players to get monopoly outside of the one like distributor. So hopefully they've definitely fixed that from what it looks like. And we got a Dory list at top 4 that came out of that. So
I get to go look at that. A Kasai list in the finals. It was Kasai versus Bravo in the finals. So Kasai is doing work.
Which I believe
the other half of the top 8 were ninjas.
Oh, really? Oh yeah, it was. I remember seeing it. There's
3 Fais and a Katsu.
Yeah,
I think that was the Kasai that had the IP2 penalty, so it was really unfortunate when going into the. There was a Kasai v Bravo that had an IP2 penalty going into it that made it really unfortunate for them to play, and so I don't know if that was the finals or not. It was
I remember they accidentally banished 3 red
cards.
3
reds and 1 yellow instead of a 2-2 split, and they didn't catch it for 3 turns, so it was IP2'd. Which again, I don't understand how. I know that's fair, but I don't understand how the banish
hurts, but yeah,
it doesn't. Those cards are never going back into her deck anyway, and they're gone now.
There's like lots of things. Maybe it's hard to know for sure. Like, there's other things to consider, like because you're running Nourishing Emptiness in the deck, so banishing cards in a weird way could affect things. It could be that later along the line that they might have banished something else, but they wouldn't have had enough cards if they banished correctly the first time. We don't know exactly what it was.
Again, I have no idea. It
is a clear game rules violation. Yeah. And they generate. Oh, no. If they use the gold token.
Yeah,
because they got a gold token off game rules violation. The correct way to fix that wouldn't be to roll it back and take a different card out of banish zone. It would be to just roll it back and you didn't have the gold token. You just never did the effect at all, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I could understand if they never had the cards to pay for it, but if they did, it's a 1 card swap. You could redisplay the information of the cards banished, which I think is still public information anyway. And I don't understand how it overly affects the game state when it's a yellow to a red, and both cards will not be entering the deck again. And so it's still 2 reds.
Depends on the contents of the discard
You're
pile.
not removing all 3 Nourishing Emptinesses. That doesn't make any sense. So I want to know. I understand that it's a rules violation, but it also seems really, really crazy.
I mean, an IP2 is considered their like lowest infraction other than a warning, right? I don't think there's an IP1.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there is an IP1.
Is there an IP1? So at least you don't get a game loss because at top 8 in PTI, that's competitive rel. So game rule, a GRV that doesn't get picked up, that gives you an advantage, could, like, a judge could probably potentially give you a game loss over that. But you're almost never going to get a game. I feel like you're almost never going to get a game loss in top 8 unless you did something blatant.
There's no advantage given to banishing. Like, if you could have, that's what I'm saying. There's absolutely no benefit.
And several turns.
Like you said, it's competitive rules enforcement level.
I totally
competitive rel is really strict. If you go read the competitive rel, it's really strict.
Like, who goes like, oh my god, it's 3 reds. It's, like, I get it, but like, where's the payoff for that? I want to know who gets to take advantage.
It was almost certainly an accident, but it's a competitive. It's competitive enforcement.
You
got to maintain the integrity of the game.
No.
Hold on. Let's look at it a different way. Let's look at it a different way.
Let's
look at it a different way. Let's say there were exactly 2 yellows and some amount of reds in there. You take 1 yellow and 3 reds out. You're creating a game state now where you only have to put 1 more yellow in the graveyard to use that ability again.
Yes. That is definitely creating an advantage later in the game.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's no. It's not correct. We don't have enough information to know exactly why.
We have no idea how many yellows he had.
But even out of context,
he has no clue.
14 yellows.
The context can't 100% matter there. It's still you made the same GRV. So if another player made that same GRV, you'd have to treat them the same if they did it by accident.
100%. I 1000% still agree with that.
And it gives you a competitive edge by only taking the yellows out because you're usually running less yellows than reds.
Somebody let me know all the ways you get to take advantage of that. I don't know. It just feels kind of weird. There are other things that you do with banishing and stuff that totally I don't know. That one feels a little wacky to me. She's not getting anything out of that.
IP2 is not that big of a disadvantage.
Don't you not draw 1 card
2 turns
for 2 turns?
You
against
one
Bravo?
less card.
So 1 less card against Bravo. You know what that means? Somebody's slipping it a big dominate that
but they
gets
could
through.
Just give you a game loss instead.
Yeah, that might have well been a game loss.
No, it's not. They got to the finals and then did their best with an IP2. Otherwise, it'd be the other person. It'd be the other person in the finals. I'm glad that they have that out to still punish you lightly for making mistakes that could technically you could be technically given a game loss for. -1 card, yes, you're at -6 points of value. You basically gave your opponent a carrion husk. But
yeah. Again, I have to accept it. It is fair. It's just I really want to know the full ins and outs of it, because it's just there are other effects where I wouldn't even bat an eye or go to bat for it. But this one, because it's a warrior, I'm gonna be biased about it.
Okay, all right. Now we got to the bottom of it. We're warriors standing here.
It feels a little weird, especially only 3 turns, and the fact that it's literally a card for a card banish that probably had 0 impact. In reality, it probably had 0 impact.
I agree.
On
it probably didn't have much impact.
And so it just feels weird. It feels very weird. But again, yeah, it is your triggers. It is your cards.
Yep.
It wasn't even a trigger. He conscientiously picked up his cards and picked the wrong ones.
He might have already done he might have done the yellows first or something and thought he did 2 yellows. Who knows?
Okay, we are way in the weeds on this one, guys.
Okay, we can move on. I think we're procrastinating coming to an end for this week's podcast. Do we have anything else we wanted to talk about?
Just want to specifically say congratulations to all of the winners from this past weekend. Fantastic job, everybody. It was a wonderful experience to watch how awesome these games of Flesh and Blood were over this last weekend. It was just great viewing experience all the way around. And shout out to Savage Feats and Ethan Manzant for the fantastic coverage that we got from Calling Hartford. That was phenomenal. And being able to watch the draft process from Yonji Lee and Tarek Patel obviously after their pods had ended, just being able to see that was awesome. And getting the seal pool breakdown from Michael Fing at the start of the tournament, that was freaking cool too, because that was we were traded to limited tips during the downtime while everybody else was doing their thing on there, so that really kept it made the action feel like it never stopped. We were always getting some kind of good value out of it. Very well done. Very, very well done. Good job.
And not only that, we're getting the Battle Hardened later this week because he recorded it.
Yeah, it was actually recorded.
Yes.
So we'll get to see the matches, which will be really fun.
Can't be stopped.
Yeah.
So like he is still continually improving. So not only did he improve the mainstream, he still managed to pick up the Battle Hardened with his backup rig, and they'll recast it. And he said
they will recast it.
He's trying to get it up this week somehow. So maybe about the time this comes out, it'll be coming out as well.
Yeah, it'd be good to watch. Get some good.
I want to watch Ed Knight's game. I think he ended up on camera.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, congrats to Ed Knight for his top 8 as well.
Congratulations at being right there. I mean, put out a great showing for Bravo. I mean, one of the most amazing players.
The card guys. Good job.
And
gotta love
and
that.
obviously a fan favorite. He's in the card guys. I mean, we love him, but awesome job.
That's all I got.
Yeah,
you guys got anything else we want to cover? All right, Noah, where can everybody find you?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter and on Twitch TV / Loot So Heavy. It will. I keep saying it, but it will be Big Max soon, and then it'll
coming
be a big.
Soon.
I know, coming soon, and we're gonna be on YouTube. I got one more thing to ask of you guys after this, if you want to do it, and then I'll get everything set up, and we will be on YouTube
one day.
And you'll be able to. No, seriously, you'll be able to watch me just lose story games over and over again, and then we'll talk about why I lost them. But it'll be fun.
I told you guys about an idea I had for content. I think.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. We talked about that. The recording Talishar games.
We got to talk more about that.
Yeah, I actually think that's gold.
All right. What about you, Thomas?
You could find me at Wet the System Fab on Twitter and pretty much everywhere you see Wet the System. I mainly troll around Mansense Discord server and the Card Guys Discord server.
And I am Draco Hominus 87, just about everywhere social media products are sold. You can look me up on Twitter or Discord specifically. If you like written content, look me up on fabric.gg as Donnie K. My next article is going to be coming out probably, I think this Friday is when it's scheduled, and I've got to get it finished. I got to finish writing it tomorrow. It's going to be, like I said earlier, the review for the Calling Hartford. Other than that, thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
Thank you, Patreons. We love you, and you still have to discard your cards. I promise pummels are coming. Do it.
Yeah, just because you like us doesn't mean you could dodge that trigger.
Nope, you have to. Just throw it in there. And your concusses, too.